Welcome to Business Influencers. Hope everyone's having a great week. The show is just doing exceptional, and we want to thank you, the listeners, each and every week joining us here. Again, this show is dedicated to really bringing your business and personal success to the next level. We would not be where we are today if it wasn't for you. This show is dedicated to you, and we hope that you're getting much value out of this. So feel free to reach out to us at chris@christophersalem.com. Again, we are committed to help raising your business and personal success to the next level. Come check us out again at the TALRadio.org website. We're also on Spotify and also on YouTube under Business Influencers on TALRadio. Our show is being brought to you today by Alumni Direct. They're a new social media community platform dedicated to bringing together, people that you went to college with, perhaps you were in a fraternity, a sorority, an opportunity to rekindle those old relationships and perhaps meet new people that you've never met before, perhaps from a different generation type. But not only is this a great way to build authentic, genuine relationships, but it takes all the noise out of social media. No social media notification, no ads, nothing that's going to kind of keep you sucked in or try to press you into anything. You get to use it on your time, sharing all types of content. It is also an affinity program. You would be eligible for certain types of services, things that can help you in your business that you would not be available to you as an individual at a group rate. Feel free to check them out at alumnidirect.com. Well, we have a great show to you today. We're going to be talking about best you, best business. I have the privilege of being here with a good friend of mine, Dr. Emily Letran. She is amazing. So you're going to get so much value here over the show here. Dr. Emily Letran is a serial entrepreneur, CEO of multiple dental practices, and a private coach to many business professionals. As an international speaker, she has been on a TEDx and shared stages with countless business leaders, including Sharon Lechter, co-author of Rich Dad, Poor Dad, Dan Clark, Hall of Fame speaker, Dr. Howard Farran, Dental Town, and Linda Miles, the ultimate mentor of dentistry. She has been featured on Dental Town, Global Women, and CBeyond magazines, Yahoo Finance, and US Today. She is the contributing writer for Dental IQ and Dentistry Today. Dr. Letran is the founder of Exceptional Leverage Incorporated, Action to Win seminars, and the author of several books. And you're going to find out later how you can reach out to her to get in contact with her about her seminar programs in the dental space, including others for business professionals, and how you can reach out to her to have her on your stage to speak to your business professionals for the next engagement. And without further ado, we welcome Dr. Emily Letran to the show. Dr. Letran, how you doing?
Well, thank you so much for having me on the show, Chris. It's been a privilege knowing you as a friend. Congratulations on everything that you've done. It's so awesome to watch friends grow and that we can grow together. And, thank you for creating this platform where some of us can share our insights, our strategies, and I'm sure your listeners, your followers can pick up, golden nuggets and just go home, implement right away, and make a difference in their business. So thank you for inviting me on the show.
Oh, pleasure to have you. And you're doing such amazing things, not only as a dentist, in educating and helping other dental practices and DSOs get to the next level, but you do so much for business professionals overall. And you speak all around the country, all over the world. And I would love to talk a little bit about, the topic, best you, best business. Because I always been taught that if we don't develop ourselves, how can we really develop our businesses? If you could discuss that concept and what you do in that area and helping people, how that's reflected in your own dental practices that you've made successful since you got into the profession.
Yeah, well, thank you for asking that. I've learned along the way from many gurus, and I've invested a lot of time and money and effort learning from the best. It distills to is your business growth is limited by your personal growth. If you are not growing yourself, and by that, I mean across the board, and I'll go a little bit deeper in just a second, but if you're not growing yourself, then sometimes your decision is based on who you are 10 years ago, right? You're not going to change the way you do business. You're not going to change the way you create relationships. You're not going to change the way you bring impact to the world. So, I love personal growth. And one of the area that I specialize in is high performance coaching. And high performance, we talk about a whole spectrum of personal growth. We talk about clarity, energy, productivity, courage, influence, psychology, physiology, persuasion, purpose. And when I say that, somebody may be listening there and go, I want more customers or I want more patients. What does that have to do with all of these things that seem so general? Well, you know what? If you have an angry customer, you got to have the courage to talk to them and maybe invite them to go do business somewhere else, right? If you are tired and you can't carry yourself throughout your 8 hours day, or maybe you're a solopreneur and you're working 12 hours, if you don't have that energy, you can't just sustain yourself and grow from a day-to-day basis. If you don't have the right way to persuade people, and persuasion is a big part of sales strategy, communicating to your team, influencing your team to follow what you want them to do, or even, influencing your spouse, right? Let's go to my restaurant for dinner kind of thing. If you don't have all of those skills, you're not going to be able to excel in your business. And I would say that you probably have some challenges in your personal life also. So a lot of time what business owners think is, let me just go and get this tactic and buy this manual and learn from this marketing guru. But at the same time, they're not changing themselves. If you don't have that mindset of abundance, for example, and that's part of psychology, right? You're always going to be looking at the person across the street, the business down the street, the business across town, and try to compare and contrast and maybe, compete on price instead of growing yourself, growing your business and bring more values, then you can charge whatever you want. So I hope that kind of clarify a little bit
Yes.
on what you can do to grow yourself and therefore grow your business. So if you have your best you, I think you're going to have your best business.
I agree. And would you say, Emily, that when you look at, best you, we do over a certain period of time, this is something that's ongoing. Even if we've raised our confidence in ourselves, or we developed, our skills more, maybe, that we're doing things a little bit differently that are helping our business to grow. This is ongoing. This isn't something that, okay, we have arrived and okay, now we can just coast on what we've learned. It's ongoing, just like in a business, it's ongoing. Would that be safe to say?
I would say that's absolutely true. There's a saying, and I forgot who said it, but they say the only constant is change, right? So life is always changing. Business is always evolving. Give it as an example, but look at the pandemic, right? It forces everybody to just pause and then look at, okay, what am I doing that is right? What am I doing that is wrong? And as we moving slowly through this pandemic, whenever it ends, right, you can see different states have different changes wherever you live, or maybe in your case, you're traveling, you're coaching different businesses across the country. Everybody have their own little situation. So we got to be adapting, right? What's going to be the next, I don't know, situation? I had the privilege of interviewing a doctor a couple of weekends ago, and he has lived through all the recessions, right? So I said, well, the pandemic, to him, it's just another recession, right? It's just time to pause, time to pivot, time to think a little bit differently. So I challenge people to actually ask themselves this question: am I living up to my God-given potential? Right? Because if you don't think you're there yet, and I don't think any one of us is there yet, keep growing, keep changing. And the fastest way to change is to work with someone like me or you, right? So we can be that catalyst and help them accelerate rather than trying to figure things out. I mean, everybody can go read a book. What if you can reach out to an expert and get the answer in, I don't know, 2 seconds? Every time I have an abrupt answer for one of my mentors, Sharon Lecter, I would text her and say, can I have 5 minutes? And she get on the phone, and in less than 5 minutes, she answered my question. I mean, how valuable is that to you when you can just get that expert opinion and just run with it?
Yeah, it's almost like what you're saying is like, yeah, you can read a book, you can watch a podcast and get great information. But when you're talking to a mentor or working with a mentor or a coach, let's say walked in your shoes, or, has the experience in the area that you're looking to do business in, that just, to me, solidifies how that could help you to now apply that knowledge. Not that it's just knowledge in itself, because knowledge is great, but or you're not applying it correctly, then that's all it is knowledge.
Right. Because, and if you think about it, information is everywhere, right? So I think when you're working with an expert, you're not looking for information per se, because you can look up that information. What you're looking for is the expert guidance, right? What's the fastest way to doing this. And, for a lot of us, let's just talk about the healthcare professionals, right? Because I'm one of them. Sometimes we've gone through the school and we worked for a couple of years. We think we're supposed to know everything, right? It just, we think so. And people kind of expect us to be so. Like, oh, you're the doctor, you should know X, Y, Z. I remember my first time working with a dental consultant back in 2010. And I'm sitting there with all these basics, right? Metrics. And it's just because it wasn't taught in school.
Yes.
And when I was watching, back then it was VHS tapes and reading newsletter, it was never broken down like, this is what we're
Yeah.
looking at for a business. So you pick up pieces, right? And by the time I got to that consultant, I already have 3 dental practices. I've already been doing well, but now all of a sudden I'm looking at a different perspective. Like, did I really need 3 to grow, or should I focus on 1, or what is my goal, right? So I think with what you say, it's not just information, it's the right information implemented and used in the right way. That's what makes you grow, help your business grow.
No, it's so true. And like, we're always learning. Like I even say to myself as a coach, I'm always learning as we grow. And I love what you just said. Like you had 3 practices, they're successful, but then you're saying to yourself, God, do I actually need all 3? Maybe I could sell one. Maybe it has an evaluation where, maybe, I don't know, another private dentist can come in, buy it, or a DSO or whatever, I'm going to get the best deal and focus my efforts on 1 or 2 that I could actually, if I could double my production and collections, I don't have to worry about the other one. So true. And you do a lot of that, obviously, with exceptional leverage coaching and action to wins when you're working with, dentists and other, business professionals that you work with. What would be some other things that you could suggest when we're talking about this topic, Dr. Letran, about, best you, best business? Some of the things that maybe perhaps some people think they've been doing these things, but still there's something missing. Like, they're just like, they're maybe not where they desire to be business wise. Perhaps they're not where they desire to be with their self. It could be personal stuff, like their well-being, their relationships, whatever that could be impacting the things that are important.
Well, it's funny you asked me that, because I totally experienced that, right? So I go from 1 practice to 3 practices and growing, and got my kids growing. And, one day I decided I have more to give. I have something to give beyond the operatory. And then I went on to this journey of learning how to be a coach and a consultant. So now the outlook is not just, my dental practices. Now the outlook is, let's just say, the world, right? How
Yeah.
much impact, how much service can I bring to the world? And it's
Yeah.
not just the dental part, because the dental part it's already there, it's established, but it's a little bit local. Yes, I can go and do a dental mission, but it's going to be 1 mission at a time. But what if I can share this knowledge with the world? And so now I pivot, I change, and part of my work is also coaching, consulting, and then I learned
Yeah.
how to be a speaker, because that's one way to get your message out there
Yes.
faster, right? And so sometimes when you look a little bit beyond, like, it's not just, okay, my life here, my life today, what else can I bring to the world? People talk about legacy as something further down the line when you retire. Legacy is what you're creating today, right? I have people in the dental industry at conferences coming up to me and say, you're my icon. And I always feel very humble about that, because I don't think I'm an icon. What it tells me is it validates that there are people watching me putting the work out there, right?
Yes.
Whether I'm talking, or I'm traveling somewhere and they know I'm learning and I'm making connections and I'm sharing resources. And so I challenge everyone, you want to be that best you think a little beyond, right? How can you do the best business, but when you go home, you be that best mom? By the way, I'm the best mom, so nobody can claim that. But be,
I know that
be,
for a
yeah,
fact.
yeah.
I always see your kids. You got great kids. So
But how can I be that best spouse? How can I be that best parent, right? And then best citizen, best community leader. So think a little bigger, give back. I challenge people to give back. Everybody have a goal. I'm going to do X dollars this year, and I'm going to invest in this, and I'm going to grow my net worth by this. Hey, how about increase your giving goal? Maybe you're going to give 20 more hours to whatever project. Maybe you're going to give money. I actually made a decision 2 days ago that I'm going to give 10% my profit in my coaching program to the refugees in Ukraine. And because as you know, and some people may know, my story is coming to this country as a
Yes.
refugee from Vietnam, right? So I resonate with the story.
Yeah.
And I went and I booked a week at an apartment in Ukraine. That's some of the things that people recommend on LinkedIn, right? That's how you give somebody money, right, in Kiev. Because of course I'm not going there to stay for a week, but I booked it for the week and I pay, so that person get the money. But I'm sitting there going, this is only one person. How can I help more, right? So that's what I'm going to do. I made that decision. I'm going to send out a press release to let people know that's what I'm going to do. And I have friends on Facebook who say, hey, I'm originally from Ukraine. Besides doing this, you can also give to this and that organization. The idea is put it out there, put your heart out there, put your intention out there, what you want to do. And then all of a sudden you see people coming and helping you achieve that goal. And
Yeah.
so get real clear in how you can be your best self and
Yes.
how you can serve beyond your business, beyond borders.
No, I love that. And you've always done that. Like you said, you came from humble beginnings. You put yourself through school, dental school, and became a tremendous success. And you are a giver. You always had that since I've known you. And it's always something we always say here at Business Influencers. You stated it to a T. It's giving without expectation, receiving without resistance, because you're giving without expectation. You're not just doing. You're helping people to help themselves from an empathetic way, but knowing that it comes back to you somewhere else, because again, we can't deplete our resources, right? Because if we don't fill up our own cups, we can't give anything anyway. So when it comes back to us, we can receive with gratitude. Like I said, and that's reflected that I've seen in not only in your dental practices, but also, with your exceptional leverage coaching and all the things where you give to people and help them to help themselves. So I think you demonstrated that so well. And it's so important that I'm glad you mentioned that in today's discussion, because I think it does reshape you to be a better you, right?
Yes, absolutely. When you give, you feel more fulfilled, or at least I do, right? And I think I would just say, okay, start giving a little bit. I have friends who say, hey, I want to do free dentistry. I want to go on a mission. Let me tell you, in my 12 years since I started working with this particular consultant, I worked with him for a couple of years, but he was one of the first one who talked about giving, right? And actually doing it. But I said, I want to go on a dental mission. And for the past 12 years, I managed to go once because I wanted to take my kids with me. And it was just, the timing is never right. And the kids were too young. And then, this is a location where we don't want you to bring your kids, and go back and forth. So finally, I just said, why don't I just do a free dentistry day in my office? I don't have to go anywhere. If I just want to give free dentistry, I can do it right where I'm at. And that's what I encourage people to do. Just do whatever you can with what you have where you are. Because when you're trying to look for other ways, working with certain organizations, you can certainly do that. There's nothing wrong with that. But if that's what's stopping you from actually doing it, I say just do the thing yourself. I created my own foundation. I didn't apply for grants or anything because that the entity is there, so people know this is separate from my dental practice,
Yeah.
right? And beyond that, we're going to be helping women grow their business. Maybe we can do some free coaching if we were to get support to the foundation. My point is just figure out what is the easiest way and the best way to help. If you really want to help, you can call me up. I'll tell you 5 different ways to help, right? And it doesn't involve entities. It doesn't involve other people. It's just you doing stuff yourself. And you grow that way because what you see is, you know what? I'm in this community, whether it's virtual or local, I'm in this community. People are supporting me. Maybe people go to my dental office. Maybe people buy my coaching program. And how do I give back to that community, right? I can help coach somebody pro bono. I can have people coming into my practice 1-2 days a year in different practices, and I can give the free dentistry there. And that's good because, the support comes from the community. You go back and you support that community. And that's one of the things that I really believe is you grow where you are. And when you help people grow, other people will help you grow. Right.
It's so
And yeah,
true.
that's part of being the best you.
And I really think you illustrated that whole process so well, because I've noticed that like when I take care of myself, I'm taking care of my business as well. Because
Right.
it's those values, it's that confidence, it's that energy that reflects in your business. So even if you have people working for you and you have staff, you have front desk people, you have assistants, you have hygienists, and you have people in your coaching business. And if you're not being that example and being that resource for them, then how could they do that for themselves, right? They have to, we model certain things in how we grow from people we observe. It was like growing up in our households. Now that can either work in a positive or negative way, of course,
Right. Yes.
which in some cases
Yes.
is a little bit of both. They can model somebody like through a mentor that are being that example of being the best you and being resourceful, like where you're empowering them to take that information or resources and do something with it. That is like, that's huge. And that just obviously reflects in your business. People, you have high retention in your dental practice with, returning patients. They're on clockwork doing their, 2 checkups a year and, following your advice for treatment. And of course, the people you're coaching in your exceptional leverage business. So true. And I've seen that reflect in myself as well. Emily, you've shared so much great information. And I know we're going to have you on another show with us here. I would love you to, share with the audience, how can they get in contact with you, what you're up to, and the best way to reach you for more information?
Yes, people can go to my website. It's dremilyletran.com. So DREMILYLETRAN.com. I just launched a brand new academy. It's called Action to Win Academy. So go to actiontowinacademy.com. It's a plethora of library of business videos that they can do it themselves, right? And then there's weekly coaching calls, and they can be in a group and they can ask me questions 24/7. I mean, if you're across, the ocean,
Anywhere in the world, exactly.
Anywhere, and then you can ask me a question and I can answer the question. And it's very, very affordable. And I don't like the word affordable, but what I mean by that is
great value.
Yes. Well, what I mean by that is if you don't want to study the information that will help you grow your business, there is no excuse, right?
Yeah.
It's there. There's weekly coaching. There's library for you to learn from. You can ask me questions. What else is there? Well, the next thing is like just work one-on-one. But my thing is this: I don't like excuses, right? I want people to give themselves their best opportunity, and that's what I'm bringing to the table for them.
Love it. Dr. Emily Letran, thank you so much for being here with Business Influencers. You've laid down some golden nuggets for the listeners and those listening later. Thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to be with us. Listeners, we're so grateful for you. We are committed to bringing guests like Dr. Emily in each and every week, again, sharing from experience, sharing from the heart, helping you to move forward in your business and personal success. And obviously, Emily did that today, talking about best you, best business. We encourage you, again, to listen to this show in its entirety, because there's a lot of great information that perhaps if you missed what she said, you'll be able to get it on the second go around. Till then, everybody, have a great rest of your week, and we'll see you next week on the next episode.